and she hadn't wanted to get stuck up in Portland, so she'd left early, nodding to her boss on the way out and grimacing as she'd taken in the gunmetal gray clouds. She remembered nothing after that, let alone how she'd ended up in her crashed car on what she assumed was the highway. Once again, she peered into the snow, pulling her coat tight around her. Several people were milling about. They looked more like ghosts, thanks to the disappearing light. None of them seemed concerned about her, or the car she'd crashed into. Something wasn't right. Reaching for her heels, she slipped them on, flinching again in pain. She moved her hand to her ribs. Bruised, likely not fractured, they weren't painful enough to be broken, unless the adrenaline had kicked enough to mask it. But the airbag hadn't deployed, so she couldn't have hit the other vehicle too hard. Though that wasn't reassuring. Her pain and the missing memories told her that the impact had been hard enough. She unbuckled, wincing as she discovered her hand was also tender. Ignoring the pain, she slipped from the car. Snow greeted her, along with an icy wind that cut right through her. Her face stoic, she limped toward a pair of figures several cars ahead. They watched her, concern mixed with wariness on their faces. As she got closer, she noted it was a young couple. "What's going on?" she asked. They shared a glance, the man shrugging. "We're not sure." "Did someone hit the power lines?" Kimberly asked as she scanned the highway, looking in vain for some sign that would tell her what had happened. "We don't know," the woman replied. "The cars, they all skidded about and crashed. We thought that by now emergency responders would be here." "They aren't?" Kimberly knew it was a stupid question the moment it left her lips. Of course they weren't. She wouldn't have woken in her car alone. Instead, there would have been a paramedic standing over her, the welcome flashing red and blue cutting through the darkness. "No one's showed up," the man said. "We tried calling, but our phones don't have a signal." Kimberly's brow knotted in a frown. "We thought you were dead," the woman said, startling Kim. "Otherwise, we would have checked on you. Sorry." The woman's expression was tight, her eyes red-rimmed. Bruises marred her face, and dried blood coated her right side. It was easy to deduce that she'd also been in the accident. Slowly, Kim turned to take in the highway. She could make out the shapes of cars scattered across the road. The other people wandering about either limped or were moving sluggishly. "It's so quiet," Kimberly commented. "Shouldn't there be crying, moaning, something?" "There was," the man said. "But it's died off. Things aren't good out here," the woman added. Kimberly winced as a fresh wave of pain surged through her. It felt like she'd woken up in her worst nightmare. She was stranded, her car totaled, and unable to get a hold of her kids. Their dad was supposed to have dropped them off that afternoon, so they should be home waiting for her, wondering where she was. "I need to get home," Kimberly said. The couple frowned, sharing another look. She realized how she sounded, but it didn't matter. Whatever was going on, she would figure it out. Surely there was a way to get herself to Salem. She paused as she realized she didn't even know where she was. "Where are we?" she asked the couple. "Just past the rest area after Wilsonville," the woman replied. Kimberly nodded. That wasn't too far from home, even with the crawl that the traffic had been. She blinked at the memory of cars running at a snail's pace. Poor weather had led to clogged roads as motorists struggled to cope with the snowy conditions and driving well below the speed limit. Perhaps that was why her airbag hadn't deployed and why her injuries weren't serious. She must have hit her head on the steering wheel when her car collided with the one in front and been knocked unconscious. It wasn't great, but she was thankful that she could stand and move about, that she still had her wits about her. "We're thinking that the emergency services are busy," the man said. "Between the weather and everything seeming to have cut off, they'll have their hands full." "Where are you headed?" the woman asked. "West Salem."